My utterly unskilled uncle suddenly started a company, and my mother coaxed me into becoming the legal representative for his company. Later, the company went bankrupt, accumulating massive debts. My uncle ran away. My mother brought my cousin and knelt, begging me to leave the house. Please, my dear, you have to bear your own burden. Don't bring trouble to me and your brother. My cousin directly tied my hands and feet with rope and threw me out the door. Sis, it's not that I don't want to help you, but Xiaomei said she'd come back to me if I got rid of you. I was hacked to death by debt collectors right outside my front door, while my mother inside tightly bolted all the doors and windows. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn, back to the day my uncle wanted to start his company. In the living room, my uncle was gesticulating excitedly to my mother, his eyes full of anticipation. Sister, believe me, I'm going to make a comeback this time. The internet says this project is guaranteed to make money. My cousin's impatient voice came from the side. How much longer until the food is ready? I'm starving. I subconsciously replied, it's coming right out. It was only when a splash of hot oil from the wok spattered onto my arm that I snapped out of my shock. I had been reborn. I was back on the day my uncle wanted to drag my mother into his business venture. In my past life, under my mother's persuasion, I became the legal representative for my uncle's company. Later, the company failed. My uncle racked up huge debts but ran away with the remaining money. As the legal representative, I was surrounded by debt collectors and was brutally killed at my doorstep. The raw pain of the dagger repeatedly piercing my chest was still vivid, giving me goosebumps all over. Hearing my voice, my mother poked her head into the kitchen. Chen Sini, your brother is starving. Why is dinner still not done? No brains and no spine. What good are you for anything? The same angry roar as my previous life brought me fully awake. I quickly set the table and called them to eat. We lived in the countryside. My mother thought renting in the city was too expensive, so she forced me to stay at home after graduation, preventing me from finding a job. But I studied media. There wasn't even a broadcast station in the village. I couldn't find a job and could only pick vegetables for others in the fields, earning a meager 1,000 yuan a month. In my past life, I lost my temper over my mother's words, questioning why she wouldn't let me leave to find a job, which led her to think of sending me to work at my uncle's company. This time, I deftly served the dishes and arranged their cutlery, appearing docile and hardworking. That fraudulent company of my uncle's wouldn't have the slightest thing to do with me. At the dinner table, my cousin was absorbed in his game. My uncle and mother ignored him, continuing their excited chat about the business venture. Dahua, is this thing you're talking about really reliable? Why haven't I seen anyone else doing it? My uncle, his mouth greasy from braised pork, held up an index finger. Let me put it this way, it's a T0 level opportunity, absolutely the next big trend. You women don't understand. If everyone were already doing it, how could you still make money? Then why don't you consider that, if it were really going to make money, would it be your turn to do it? This time, I suppressed the urge to retort, quietly picking up a piece of meat. My uncle's supposed big trend project was selling photography equipment to live streaming companies and individual media creators. But he didn't know that the truly valuable thing was not the equipment, but the technical skill of calibrating and setting it up. My uncle couldn't even distinguish camera models, naturally knew nothing about technology, let alone making money. My mother couldn't follow my uncle's grand talk, so she turned her attention to me. She hit my hand with her chopsticks. All you do is eat, eat, eat all day long. What use are you? Learn from your uncle. Look how capable he is, running a business right from home. Oh, by the way, Dahua, do you have any position that Cindy could take? Give her a chance to gain some experience. I mentally scoffed, learning what from my uncle? Learning his callousness when he took the money and ran? But I said, I'm just a girl and I don't understand this kind of thing. My cousin is a boy, and he's smarter than me, he'd surely learn faster. My cousin, seemingly having lost his game, slammed his phone on the table. His tone was poor. Who wants to learn this useless stuff? I'd rather go scratch a few more lottery tickets. My cousin is only 1 year younger than me and dropped out of school 3 years ago. For these 3 years, he either played games at home or went out to buy lottery and scratch-off tickets. He almost never won, yet no one in the family ever criticized him. My uncle probably knew my cousin's habits. He ignored my cousin entirely and turned to me. Cindy, I really do need a legal representative here. How about you come and be the boss? Before I could speak, my mother shrieked in surprise. What? You mean let her be the boss? My uncle laughed. That's right. Cindy is one of our own. Of course, we think of her first when there are benefits. My mother excitedly grabbed my hand and yanked me down to the floor. Quick, stop eating, kowtow to your uncle. In my past life, I patiently explained the risks of being a legal representative to my uncle and mother, suggesting we first try a temporary company affiliation model. Instead, my mother kicked me to the ground. If you're not capable yourself, fine, but don't slander your uncle. With your uncle's ability, how could he lose money? Letting you be the legal representative is a mark of respect. Finally, my uncle and cousin forcibly dragged me to sign the papers. I understood now. The more I didn't want to do something, the more they would force me to do it. Conversely, if I acted like I desperately wanted to do it, they would hesitate to indulge me. This time, I knelt without hesitation and gave my uncle a loud, deep kowtow. Thank you, uncle, for your immense generosity. This time, it was my uncle's turn to be stunned. The boss he was working with must have informed him of the risks associated with the legal representative position, which is why he skipped over his own son and offered the job to me, hoping our family would bear the risk for him. He saw me as an educated person since I graduated from university, and he probably didn't expect an intellectual to be so easily managed. I continued my performance, clutching my uncle's trousers and thanking him incessantly, even drawing the attention of my cousin who was playing games. My cousin looked at me with contempt. It's just a legal representative position. Why are you so worked up? You don't even get paid. My uncle immediately slapped my cousin across the face and began to explain. Who says there's no salary? When the company makes money, Cine gets a share of the profits. 10% of the shares. If the company earns 10 million, Cine gets 1 million for doing nothing. Now it was my cousin's turn to be surprised. Isn't that just lying down and making money? Dad, why didn't you ask me for such a good thing? Why ask a girl? Lou Cine is going to marry out eventually. Why give her the money? My uncle frantically winked at my cousin. We'll talk about this when we get home. My cousin thought for a moment, then sat back down, pouting and muttering under his breath. Anyway, that old man won't make any money. I knew my cousin's mentality of wanting an unexpected fortune too well. His inner resolve was already starting to waver. I chimed in, that's right, little brother, I'm not capable either. Just let uncle take me to earn money. Anyway, the money will still be in your family eventually, right? Besides, I just did a divination, and this company is going to be incredibly prosperous. You'll be the CEO then. My cousin barely heard anything else, just kept repeating the words, incredibly prosperous. What did you say? You said I'd be incredibly prosperous. Really? Heaven has answered, heaven has answered. My cousin usually worshipped the god of wealth and believed heavily in the occult. My mother also knew my habit of dabbling in things like tarot cards, and she thought this was a good omen. Her face immediately brightened. Lou Cine, quickly do another divination in front of your uncle. If the result is good, our family will invest some money too. My goal was achieved. I slowly went to my room and retrieved a specially prepared deck of cards. My mother, uncle, and cousin all had low levels of education and were quite superstitious, especially my mother and cousin, who always believed they would one day be favored by heaven and receive an unexpected fortune. I performed a long, mysterious ritual in front of them, even draping our black curtain fabric over myself. When the entire living room was filled with candlelight, my mother and cousin suddenly dropped to their knees with a thud. Both muttered prayers under their breath. Heaven protect us, let my brother become rich and healthy. Buddha grant us a miracle, let my dad's company earn money, let me win the lottery. A cold smile crossed my heart. Uneducated people are truly terrifying. Even setting aside everything else, this was a tarot reading. The West doesn't have the Buddha. These two were praying at the wrong altar. I kept up the pretense, jumping, yelling, and even rolling my eyes a few times. Seeing this, my mother immediately pulled my uncle, the only one not kneeling, down to the floor. Her eyes were full of devotion. I looked at the three of them kneeling neatly before me, feeling a sense of satisfaction. This is just the beginning. You beasts, I will make you pay the price, little by little. After a long pause, I slowly drew out a few cards that I had already manipulated and placed them on the table in sequence. 7 of Pentacles upright. It foretells a long-term investment about to yield a generous return. 9 of Cups upright. Believe in yourself, and you will create an endless flow of abundance and wealth. 10 of Pentacles upright. It represents wealth and prosperity. I clapped my hands excitedly. That's wonderful, uncle, please take me on. I really want to be the legal representative. My mother, however, pointed to the one card I hadn't interpreted yet. What is this burning building? I glanced at it. While drawing the cards, I had accidentally picked up one extra card that I hadn't preset, the Tower card. The Tower card foreshadows sudden disaster, collapse, and upheaval, meaning the project will face obstacles and sudden destruction. You must cut your losses in time to avoid greater damage. My cousin was also curious and peered over, muttering, yeah, this doesn't look like a good card. I cleared my throat and spoke. A tall building starts on the ground, so it means uncle's company will get taller and taller. The fire means flourishing, that the business will get more and more prosperous. Hearing this, my uncle finally relaxed. He patted my shoulder. I get it. The greater the storm, the better the catch. I smiled and nodded. My cousin, however, suddenly tore my uncle's hand off my shoulder and shoved me to the floor. You're just a girl who's going to marry out in a few years. Are you fit to be the legal representative? My dad's company should have me as the legal representative. I feigned reluctance, crying to my mother. Mom, I don't want to get married. I want to stay with you forever. Just let me be the legal representative. I can learn anything. I really want to be the boss. My mother looked awkwardly at my uncle, who in turn looked at my cousin with approval. Son, after all these years, you're finally showing ambition. I'm very relieved. My cousin looked impatient. It's foolish not to earn money. My mother was anxious when she heard this. What does that mean? Are you trying to cut us out already? I don't care. Not only am I not taking back the 20,000, I'm going to add more investment. We've lived for so long, we should take a chance and live grandly. My uncle's original intention was to use me as a scapegoat. Now, with the divination results looking so bright, he was completely blinded, convinced he would succeed, and felt comfortable giving the legal representative position to his own son. Seeing that we no longer had any leverage, my uncle turned to leave with my cousin, but my mother held him tight. My uncle was getting impatient and spoke bluntly. Sister, it's not like I'm saying this, but starting a company is a big deal. It requires intelligence and drive. You two women won't be much help. I immediately chimed in. My mom has money. We can invest. Mom, even if we're not capable, don't you have 20,000 in retirement savings? My mother was stunned for a moment, then unhesitatingly stuffed the bank book into my uncle's hand. Brother, I want to earn money too. Please take me along. Is 20,000 enough? I can borrow more. My uncle hadn't expected a windfall before the company even truly started. He was all smiles. Sister, you're being too formal. We're family. Of course, I'd include you in something good. My mother sighed in relief, and I once again expressed my willingness. Uncle, I don't need money. I can be a free laborer. I just want to learn something. Please take me with you. Getting 20,000 for free and an unpaid worker, my uncle couldn't have been happier, and he readily agreed. I was also happy. In this life, I had to watch with my own eyes how they would all self-destruct step by step. After my uncle left, my mother reverted to her usual cold attitude toward me. I still had to save the day in the end. Can't even secure an opportunity for yourself, useless. My uncle's company was in full swing. My mother's 20,000, combined with my uncle's entire 50,000 savings, was all spent in less than 5 days. My uncle said that the company would eventually build a high-rise, so it had to be located in the most prestigious area, or nobody would notice them. The equipment also had to be the best. My uncle said they would be wealthy in the future and wouldn't engage in small-time business. They had to go for the high end. After securing a supply channel, my uncle sent my cousin to treat the big boss to dinner at the largest restaurant in the city center. My cousin ordered an extravagant seafood feast, reportedly costing a full 30,000 yuan for that one meal. My mother felt a pang of distress, but my uncle dismissed her with a sneer. A man needs to save face when doing business. What do you know? Right, Cinny. I was on the side, pouring tea and water, and obediently replied, Uncle is right. My uncle let out the laugh of a successful man. See? She's a college graduate, catches on quickly. Cinny, follow your uncle well to make money, and you'll definitely get your share when the company is profitable. I sneered inwardly but displayed a look of profound gratitude on the surface. Since the company opened, my uncle hadn't even drafted an employment contract for me, clearly treating me as free labor and constantly dangling promises of profit sharing after the company earned money. Without a contract, any talk of payment was nonsense. Luckily, there was no contract. This way, I would have absolutely no connection to the company. When the investigation came, I could not only get away completely, but also be commended for reporting the wrongdoing of my own family. As for his lavish spending, I fully supported it. It wasn't my money he was spending anyway. 3 months after the company's opening, thanks to the connections of the secret big boss, the company initially progressed smoothly. They sold several sets of expensive equipment to some third-rate media companies and quickly recouped the initial investment. My cousin also adopted the air of a boss, quickly buying numerous luxury watches and bracelets. The stupidest thing he did was not only post photos of these luxury items on his social media, but also use the company's business license, with him as the legal representative, as a background image. I watched his current act of desperately wanting everyone to know he was the legal representative, a cold laugh bubbling up inside me. In my past life, despite my efforts to keep a low profile, my identity as the legal representative was still exposed, forcing me to hide at home like a mouse, afraid to even cough. This time, my cousin was announcing it to the world before anyone even investigated. I wondered how he would hide later. My cousin and uncle's lives visibly became more extravagant. My mother wasn't blind. She quickly realized the company was making money and came to my uncle for her share. Dahua, your company seems to be doing really well. Shouldn't I get my profit share now? I invested 20,000, you know. My uncle was polishing his newly acquired prayer beads, holding them dearly. Seeing my mother, he didn't even lift his head. Sister, just wait patiently. I'll definitely transfer the money to you when we make a profit. My mother got anxious. But you have made a profit, haven't you? You have money to buy prayer beads, so how can you not have made money? Don't even think about keeping it all to yourselves. I gave you 20,000 in real money. Seeing my mother's temper, my uncle softened, helped her sit at the coffee table, and brewed a pot of high-quality tea. Sister, we need to go out for business, so of course we have to dress presentably. These are necessary company expenses. How can you call it keeping it all to ourselves? Besides, Cindy has been at the company all this time, right? She must know whether the company has made money or not. With that, my uncle frantically winked at me, and my cousin directly used his eyes to threaten me. They didn't need to threaten me. I obediently rushed over to my mother. Mom, Uncle is right. The company has just started, it won't make money that fast. But Uncle is very capable, the company will definitely make a lot of money in the future. Everyone seemed to recall the divination, and expectant smiles spread across their faces. My uncle went with the flow. Sister, if you need the money urgently, I can find someone to put together the 20,000 and pay you back. After all, you're my older sister, how could I try to defraud you? My mother was displeased upon hearing this. What's that supposed to mean? You want to cut me out already? I don't care. Not only am I not taking back the 20,000, I'm going to increase my investment. We've lived so many years, we need to take a glorious gamble. I clapped my hands in agreement repeatedly. Even my cousin chimed in with newfound ambition. Dad, I also want to invest under my own name. Xiaomei keeps complaining that I'm an idle rich kid. I need to prove to her that I can earn my own money. Xiaomei was the hairstylist my foolish cousin met in town. She was also the mastermind who ran away with my uncle's money in the past life. I looked at my cousin with admiration. Cousin, you and Xiaomei must cherish each other. Not forgetting your partner when you become rich. A good man like you will surely have a happy marriage. By the 5th month of the company's operation, the funding chain had run into trouble, and my cousin's relationship was also on the rocks. Due to the boss's sudden withdrawal of capital, and their having already spent all the emergency funds, the capital chain snapped. Supply could not meet demand, and clients were canceling their contracts and seeking other equipment companies. This was actually a trap set by the so-called boss. They used my uncle's startup capital to get the basic equipment running, then invested a small amount of money with their supply channels, and once they made a profit, they withdrew the capital, abandoning both the channels and the company. A photography equipment company with such high-priced inventory could only be recommended to new media companies who knew nothing about the industry. Any boss with even a bit of insight wouldn't choose this highly overpriced equipment, and the rise of phone-based live streaming tutorials online made this expensive equipment even less appealing. The foolish uncle and cousin had, just a month prior, invested all their remaining liquid capital into buying new equipment. My uncle asked me anxiously, Cindy, you're a college graduate. Help your uncle think of a way, what should we do now? My cousin, his eyes red and frantically typing a long post on his phone, sneered at me. If she were even a bit smart, would we be in this mess? I think educating girls is a waste of money. A pig brain is useless no matter how much it learns. I walked up to him and whispered in his ear, your girlfriend is cheating on you. My cousin violently slammed his phone down, his face a picture of fear. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? I ignored him and put on a bright smile. My brain might not be good, but I can tell fortunes. This time, before I could set up the cards, my uncle and cousin immediately dropped to their knees. Buddha, grant a miracle. Let my company be resurrected. Bodhisattva, protect me. Let Xiaomei come back to me. Before he could finish, my uncle slapped my cousin. What time is it? Have some ambition. I put on my black robe and went through the motions of divination, but in reality, I was enjoying the sight of their pathetic kneeling. It was time. I drew out the cards. The Death, the Tower, the Hierophant. My uncle eagerly leaned in. Cindy, what do these cards mean? Are they good or bad? Why are they all so dark? I adopted a solemn expression and spoke slowly, as if with reluctance. A siren is causing trouble. There is a temptress around you, corrupting your heart and motives. She may cause great calamity. Seeing my cousin's confused look, I added, this woman can cause you to turn against each other. You must choose between love and career, otherwise. Before I could finish, my cousin understood and immediately questioned my uncle. Dad, is it Xiaomei? Didn't you agree to us being together? Or are you successful now and look down on her? I sighed. I had hinted so strongly, and my cousin still hadn't figured it out. My uncle was stammering, trying to figure out how to reply, when his phone rang abruptly. I quickly and eagerly picked up the phone for my uncle and held it up to them both, ignoring my uncle's desperate winks. The screen lit up with the call, and my uncle's phone background was clearly a bikini photo of Xiao Mei. My cousin stumbled backward, his eyes wide with disbelief. Dad, is that you? Xiao Mei is cheating with you? How could you? The two began to fight in the warehouse, knocking over many newly arrived lenses and lamp covers, but neither paid any mind. I was right, though. In the past life, the direct cause of the father and son turning against each other was Xiao Mei. I just accelerated their discovery. As for Xiao Mei, she was no good either. My tragic death in the last life was largely due to her. The rest was due to my own foolishness. In the past life, when the company's capital chain broke, the father and son quickly came up with a new solution. They decided to sell their stagnant inventory by offering courses bundled with equipment, an idea I had proposed. However, because they were too cheap to hire professional technicians, they watched a few short tutorials online, confidently believing they had mastered the calibration skills, and began selling courses for $3,999 online. Individual streamers needed professional calibration the most, and many with suggestive content came to them. But their skills were truly terrible, and many streamers banded together, wanting to expose them and demand refunds. At their wits' end, they chose a risky path. They hid pinhole cameras inside the supplementary lights they sold. The streamers with suggestive content would stream during the day and then engage in explicit homework for their wealthy patrons at night, all of which was recorded by the hidden cameras. The father and son used the stolen videos to threaten the streamers, warning them that if they continued to complain, they would release the videos. Both sides were engaged in illicit business, so the streamers had to swallow their losses and reluctantly posted favorable video recommendations for them. Gradually, my uncle's company got back on its feet. However, the secret was leaked, and my uncle's company was eventually reported and declared bankrupt. My uncle was enraged and wanted to release the private videos for revenge, but my cousin stopped him. My cousin said those videos included clips of Xiao Mei, and he couldn't let her suffer such humiliation. My uncle and cousin had a huge falling out, and my uncle ran away with the money. My cousin stayed at my house during that time, crying and begging to win Xiao Mei back. I couldn't bear to see my cousin estranged from everyone, so I agreed to act as a mediator to persuade Xiao Mei to forgive him. To my shock, when I arrived at Xiao Mei's place, I saw my uncle inside. My uncle was kneeling miserably on the floor, his expensive suit pants torn. Seeing me, Xiao Mei immediately bowed to the people in the room. Sirs, please let Huaga go. The company is bankrupt. He really doesn't have any money. The legal representative is her. That young girl at the door. She's the one responsible. Go after her quickly. I knew the company owed a lot of money, and as the legal representative, I was indeed the one responsible. But where would I get so much money? I turned and ran. Before leaving, I looked back through the crowd and locked eyes with Xiao Mei's triumphant gaze. After fleeing home, I urgently told my cousin everything I had seen and heard. My cousin responded by slapping me to the ground. What nonsense are you talking about? Xiao Mei is so good, how could she cheat? And with my dad? I think you're just jealous that Xiao Mei has someone who wants her, while you're an unwanted deadbeat. My mother's focus was on the fact that I had been discovered by the debt collectors. She pointed at me, her face full of anguish, and cursed loudly. You. Why would you come home after being discovered? Are you trying to drag us down with you? You're the legal representative, you have nothing to do with us. Your brother needs to get married and continue the family line, you can't involve us. Later, my mother knelt and begged me to leave the house, and my cousin used a rope to tie me up. He looked down at me. Xiao Mei said she'd consider getting back together with me if I got rid of the company's trouble. And so, my cousin and mother collaborated to throw me out the door, where I was brutally hacked to death by debt collectors. In my last moments, I looked into the house and saw my mother and cousin frantically bolting all the doors and windows, sealing off my last sliver of hope for life. I woke up again from the nightmare. Since my rebirth, I've had the same dream every night, reliving the tragedy of my past life. It's like a siren, constantly reminding me not to forget what these cold-blooded beasts did to me. Waking up again, I couldn't sleep. I got up to get a drink of water and saw my mother wiping away tears in the living room. My mother had lost her usual arrogant demeanor, and her eyes, when she looked at me, were full of deep weariness. Cinny, do you think I made a mistake? Should I have not trusted your uncle? Now look, I've lost everything. I suddenly spoke up. Mom, you should try live streaming. It's very popular now. After the father and son's early falling out, my cousin chose to run away and came to stay at our house. My uncle, as expected, valued money more than women and continued to cling to his precarious company. However, my uncle had believed my divination and kicked Xiao Mei, who had already become a top streamer, out of the company, forbidding her from live streaming. In the past life, the person who finally exposed my uncle's company was probably Xiao Mei. This time, without Xiao Mei, a new person had to take the blame. I deliberately revealed my past life's idea to my uncle, and subtly suggested that the live streaming industry could be expanded into various gray area transactions. My uncle understood and immediately called a few workers overnight to reinstall the lights in the warehouse. 3 days later, my cousin and I worked together to move a set of equipment home. My mother felt a little embarrassed. Will this work? I'm already quite old. I reassured her. It's very trendy for older people to live stream now. That elderly woman in the next community is earning over 100,000 a month. My mother's eyes lit up when she heard this. Without another word, she started choosing outfits. My cousin also fawned over my mother. Auntie, you look so pretty. You don't look 50 at all. With the beauty filter on, people will think you're a college student. Auntie, I'm counting on you to support me from now on. I'll definitely win Xiaomei back soon and quickly continue the family line for the Zhang family. My mother was giddy with compliments. After a series of adjustments, she couldn't wait to start her stream. I tactfully made way for her, citing company business, and let her do her thing. My mother lost her husband in middle age and had been alone for a long time, inevitably having some other thoughts. Sure enough, a few days later, when I logged into my mother's live stream with a burner account, I already sensed something was wrong. A large banner on the screen saying Portia plus V for tasks attracted a crowd of men my mother's age, and the chat was very lively. Sister, which city are you in? I'll come see you. Sister, Portia has been gifted. Please grant V. Streamer, are all tasks allowed? Do we get a refund if we fail? My mother gave a flirtatious smile. I'm a woman who's been around. Is there anything I can't do? With that, several more Porsches raced across the screen. My mother saw this and happily ended the stream. I immediately called my cousin, but he declined the call. Then, a voice message filled with his impatience popped up. I'm soothing Xiaomei, don't bother me. As expected, my cousin wasn't at home either. The real show was about to begin. A few days later, my uncle's company business improved again, and my mother was also earning a lot of money. When I returned home, my mother and cousin were happily eating crayfish, each holding a bowl. Seeing me return, the two shared a knowing eye roll, looking like a true family. My cousin spoke first. Oh, you remember to come back. Auntie, I told you, you can't rely on your daughter, you need me. My mother also disdainfully pulled the crayfish bowl closer to her. You don't get any of this crayfish. Go ask your money-losing uncle if you want to eat. I pretended to be very surprised, looking longingly for some crayfish, further reinforcing that my mother and cousin were living much better than my uncle now. After they had eaten their fill, my cousin packed a large portion of crayfish to take to Xiaomei, and my mother impatiently waved me off. If you have nothing to do, go back to the company. I need to stream. I smartly approached to help my mother set up the equipment and lights, fawning over her. Mom, let me stay with you today. I feel bad seeing you work alone to support us. My mother immediately refused. No way. If they know I have a daughter, how can I stream? Are you deliberately trying to sabotage my earnings? I looked confused. But I see other aunties stream with their daughters. Besides, it's just chatting. Why would the audience mind that you have a daughter? My mother was speechless, a hint of guilt flashing across her face, seemingly considering how to explain to me. I pretended to be shocked. Mom, you're not doing that kind of streaming, are you? My mother slapped me across the face. What nonsense are you talking about? Be careful, I'll sue you for defamation. I looked at the strange tail, peeking out from under my mother's skirt, and smiled coldly. She knew best whether I was defaming her or not. To distance myself, I frowned and warned her. Mom, please don't engage in any illegal transactions. That's against the law. You could end up in jail if caught. My cousin was also impatient and pushed me toward the door. You're just jealous that Auntie makes more money than you. As long as we're making money, who cares how? It's not like the police are going to install surveillance cameras in our house, are they? No, the police didn't, but your dad did. I wonder what your dad will feel when he sees the surveillance footage. After being kicked out, I called my uncle and told him that several streamers had complained about our poor calibration skills and demanded refunds. My uncle scoffed. Who are those lowlifes? Does a chicken deserve to make such a fuss? Wait, your uncle will handle this. I heard the sound of furious keyboard clicking and hung up, satisfied. When I arrived at the company, my uncle was sitting in front of the computer, his face extremely pale. I quickly ran over to ask what was wrong, but my uncle immediately turned off the screen. And nothing, wretch. Huh? Was the content that intense? Intense enough to make him physically vomit? If it weren't illegal to view it, I would truly want to see how shameless my mother could be. My uncle took a while to recover, then asked me, the set of equipment you moved home for your sister, was it from the first floor warehouse? I nodded innocently. Yes. Didn't you say that batch of lights was factory refurbished? I thought it must be better than the originals, so I moved a set for Mom. Is there a problem? My uncle frowned, his face twisted in pain. After a long pause, he waved his hand. That set of equipment is too expensive. Find some time to move it back and swap it for another one. I nodded obediently, waiting for my cousin to return. The show was about to start. My cousin stayed at Xiao Mei's house for 3 days straight. It seemed that after Xiao Mei realized my uncle only cared about money and had completely abandoned her, she turned back and jumped into my cousin's arms. My cousin was enjoying it, completely disregarding the fact that she was his father's discarded partner. I shook my head. This world was too crazy. A 50-year-old woman engaging in illicit streaming, with a father and son fighting over a hairstylist. The son happily taking his father's discarded partner, while the father secretly spied on his own sister's private videos. When my cousin finally appeared at the front door, looking satisfied, I rushed forward in a panic. Cousin, it's bad. Your dad wants to take back mom's live streaming equipment. My mother and cousin both panicked. They were relying on my mother's streaming income now. If their livelihood was gone, a new set of equipment would be very expensive. My cousin clenched his fists. That old bastard. Is he intentionally trying to mess with Auntie? I'm going to smash his company. I quickly stopped my cousin. It's not that. Uncle said the equipment had a problem and needed to be sent back for repairs. My mother sneered. If I send this equipment back, will it ever return? He said he needs to fix it? I'll not give it back to him. I'll find someone to fix it myself. I can afford to fix a light. With that, my mother called a nearby electrician in a sickly sweet voice. The electrician arrived with his tools in 15 minutes. He checked the lights for a long time but found no problem. My mother smugly said, "See? I told you your uncle was just making excuses. Not only won't he give me back my 20,000, but now he won't even let me have a set of lights. Does he still see me as his sister?" As she was complaining, the electrician's detector emitted an alarm. It turned out that during a routine check, the electrician found an unknown device connected to his portable Wi-Fi. He pulled out his detector and, sure enough, found that an LED bulb in the lamp cover had been replaced with a pinhole camera. My mother's face instantly drained of color. She collapsed onto the sofa, muttering, "What should I do? What should I do?" I looked confused. "What is it, Mom?" "It's a good thing the light was only placed where you stream and didn't capture any other privacy. We can just take it out." My mother suddenly threw the ashtray on the coffee table at me. "You don't understand. It's over. Everything is over." My cousin was the first to react. "Wait a minute, isn't this equipment from my dad's warehouse? Why would there be a camera?" My mother lunged forward and grabbed my collar. "Did Zhang Dahua do this? Did he put the camera in the lamp cover? Are you two in cahoots? What did you all see? What do you want to do?" My mother dragged me across the floor, sobbing and throwing a tantrum. "It's over. My life is ruined. I've been seen by others. How can I live now?" I was crying uncontrollably, hiccuping as I told them everything about the streamers complaining about the company's service and my uncle's response. "It really wasn't me. I don't know anything. Uncle won't even let me touch the computer. How could I know the company's secrets?" My cousin finally realized what was going on and covered his mouth tightly. "Auntie, no wonder you always told me to go find Xiao Mei when you were streaming. You were." My mother wailed nonstop. "What choice did I have? Your father wouldn't give me money. I didn't even have money for my coffin. Your father wouldn't let Cindy leave, so I had to earn money myself. I'm this old, who would watch my streams? I just saw someone online say that kind of work earns a lot, so I thought I'd try. You think it was easy for me?" My cousin was moved by my mother's tearful accusation and shook his fist angrily. "Zhang Dahua is a complete scumbag. Stealing his own son's girlfriend, secretly filming his sister's videos. I'll report him until his company goes bankrupt." I gave my cousin a thumbs up and spoke tearfully. "Cousin, you're a great example of exposing family for justice. You're my role model. I actually noticed something was wrong a long time ago, but Uncle kept threatening me with Mom's 20,000, saying he wouldn't give Mom any money if I didn't cooperate. I didn't dare to ask questions." My cousin suddenly stood up and looked down at me. "Women really are useless, always timid and hesitant. How can you achieve anything great?" "I'll take my revenge myself." After my cousin left, my mother sighed. "Cindy, you're a filial child. I was wrong to misunderstand you before." My uncle's company collapsed after my cousin reported him. Although the videos on the computer were destroyed, the police still found and penalized the streamers according to the client list, including my mother. My mother had already spent all the money she earned. She couldn't pay the fine, was saddled with massive debt, became a debtor avoiding payment, and stayed indoors all day. As for my uncle, he ran away again, taking Xiao Mei with him. How did Xiao Mei know about this? Of course I told her. I told her that my cousin was about to get into trouble, and if she didn't want to be implicated, she should quickly leave with my uncle. My cousin, the clueless enthusiast who reported the company, only realized he was the legal representative afterward. He said nonchalantly, "I wasn't involved in this. Besides, I had already broken up with my dad." The lawyer sitting across from him seemed to have a headache from this legally ignorant person and rubbed his brow. "Do you know that you are still the legal representative of the company and must bear full responsibility? Illegal filming, invasion of privacy, fraudulent sales, and the debts your father owes, all must be paid by you as the legal representative." At that moment, my cousin truly realized the immense risk of being a legal representative. He turned to Xiaomei for comfort but found her home completely empty. The ignorant young man who fought for love ended up with nothing and was thrown into jail. As for my uncle, how could I let him go? One of the reasons Xiaomei was willing to go with my uncle was because I told her there was a reward for reporting an escaped fugitive. After Xiaomei settled down with my uncle in a small mountain village, she didn't hesitate to call the police. The father and son were finally reunited, forgiving each other and crying in each other's arms in jail. As for me, because I had actively collected evidence and cooperated with the investigation, and because there was no contract proving any relationship between me and my uncle's company, I was eventually released without charge. I packed my bags and left home. Before I left, my mother hugged my legs, begging me not to go. "Cinny, quickly do a divination." "What should I do now?" "What does the Bodhisattva say?" "Cinny, you're all I have left. Please don't go. If you're not home, the debt collectors will kill me." I turned back with an innocent smile. "Mom, did I tell you to invest more money with Uncle? Did I tell you to break the law to earn quick money? You have to bear your own burden. Don't bring trouble to me." 2 years after graduation, I embarked on my journey to pursue my dreams again. I believe that this time I will definitely succeed and enjoy the rest of my wonderful life. 3 years later, I became the youngest operations director at a media company. During a routine check, I saw a very familiar person sitting in the interview room. It was Xiaomei. Xiaomei was dressed extravagantly, but she was filthy, and I could smell a foul odor from afar. I didn't need to guess. She was probably kept by a wealthy parvenu who then tossed her out when he got bored. Truly unchangeable. I couldn't imagine an adult woman, after the incident with my uncle, choosing not to improve herself or find a legitimate job, but still dreaming of becoming a wealthy wife. She saw me and rushed over with flailing arms. "It's all your fault. You didn't tell me I needed to provide my ID to claim the reward. I did all that for nothing. Why do you get to live so well? I want you to be a beggar like me." Of course, she wouldn't dare provide her ID to claim the reward, as she had too many pending legal cases. Cases like interfering with someone else's marriage and causing the spouse to commit suicide, theft, organized gambling. Any one of them would be enough to put her in jail for several years. In the previous life, she was extremely cruel to me, and yet in this life I hadn't utterly destroyed her. Still, she remained so stubbornly misguided. I refused to tolerate her any longer. She was still yelling nonstop. "Do you know your mother has been institutionalized in a psychiatric hospital? Your uncle and cousin won't be out for at least 10 years. What a noble act of exposing your family. Why does a cold-blooded animal like you get to live a glorious life? You should have died in their place. You deserve to go to hell." I dialed the police. "Hello, there's a disturbance at XX company. The person's name is Chin Mimi, 30 years old, from XX village. She likely has many outstanding warrants. Please investigate her thoroughly."